Welcome to Monk's Temple. Tonight, let's begin not with an instruction, but with an invitation. An invitation to listen not just with your ears, but with the quiet space behind your thoughts. Feel the weight of your body where it rests. Notice the gentle tide of your breath, coming in, going out, all on its own. There's an intelligence in that rhythm, a letting go that happens without your effort. The exhale releases, making room for the new. This isn't just breathing. This is your first, most intimate lesson in trust. What if your entire life could breathe with that same natural rhythm? What if the act of releasing, of letting the air go, was the secret not to losing, but to truly receiving? For 35 years, I've sat with this question, in stillness, in gardens, in the midst of chaos. I've seen hearts break from holding too tightly, and I've seen those same hearts mend when they learn to open their hands. The wisdom we explore here is ancient, drawn from the well of Buddhism, from the compassionate insights of the Buddha. But it is not a relic. It is a living truth, waiting to be felt in the pulse of your own life, in the quiet between your own heartbeats. So often, we are taught that life is a race. A struggle. A puzzle we must solve through sheer force of will. We grip our dreams like lifelines, clutch our relationships like possessions, and treat time as an enemy to be defeated. And in all that grasping, we feel a constant, quiet exhaustion. A sense that we are forever swimming against the current. But what if you turned around? What if you stopped swimming, and simply floated? Would you sink? Or would you discover that the water itself has been waiting to carry you all along? This is the paradox we will gently unwrap together. Detachment. It's a word that sounds cold, distant. It conjures images of rejection, of walls, of emotional ice. But in the heart of Buddhist teaching, detachment is none of those things. It is the warmth of the sun that touches everything but owns nothing. It is the clarity of a still lake, reflecting the sky perfectly because it does not cling to the clouds. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is love's deepest, most courageous form. It is the space in which love can breathe. I want to tell you a story from my own life, a simple one from many years ago. I had a small, ceramic teacup. It was unremarkable to most, but to me, it was precious. A teacher had given it to me. I cherished it. I used it every morning, the ritual of the tea, the warmth in my hands, it felt like a direct line to peace. One day, while washing it, my hands were slippery. It slipped. Time slowed. I watched it fall toward the stone floor, my heart clutching in my chest. There was a sharp, clear sound as it shattered. Pieces skittered everywhere. In that moment, a storm erupted inside me. Grief, anger at my carelessness, a profound sense of loss. The ritual was broken. The connection felt severed. I knelt there, gathering the sharp fragments, feeling a literal ache. For days, the memory of the sound, the sight of the broken pieces, haunted me. My meditation was filled with the ghost of that cup. Then, one morning, as I sat in the garden, I saw a spiderweb strung between two branches, dew clinging to every silken thread. The sun hit it, and it became a necklace of diamonds, transient, breathtakingly beautiful. And it struck me, my mourning wasn't for the teacup. It was for the idea of the teacup. The permanence I had assigned to it. The peace I had attached to its form. The cup was always just clay, shaped by hands, fired in a kiln. Its beauty was in its impermanence, in its service, and even in its breaking. The breaking revealed my attachment. The web, so fragile, so temporary, held the dew without trying to own it. It was a masterpiece of non-attachment. The peace was never in the cup. The peace was in the drinking, in the presence the ritual invited. That presence was still available to me, cup or no cup. The universe, in its quiet way, had used a spiderweb to teach me what years of reading had not fully unveiled. If this reflection is meeting you where you are, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. It's a simple way to keep this space for quiet wisdom in your life. Now, let's continue. That teacup taught me about impermanence, or anicca. The Buddha didn't teach this to depress us. He taught it to liberate us. He pointed to the falling leaf, the fading sunset, the aging face, not to say, life is sorrow, but to whisper, see how everything is in motion. You are part of this sacred flow. To resist it is to resist life itself. Impermanence is the canvas upon which beauty is painted. A forever rose would lose its scent. A never-ending song would become noise. It is the fact that this moment, this breath, this feeling, will not last, that makes it utterly precious. It asks for our attention, not our possession. Think of a sand mandala. Monks spend days, weeks, painstakingly placing colored grains into an intricate, breathtaking geometric universe. It is a meditation, a prayer made visible. And then, in a ceremony, they sweep it up. All that labor, all that beauty, gathered into a jar and poured into a flowing river. Why? The lesson is in the release. The masterpiece was not in the preserved image, but in the act of creation and the courageous act of letting it return to the flow. The mandala's true purpose was fulfilled in its dissolution. Our lives are like that. We build, we love, we create beautiful patterns. And time, with its gentle or fierce hand, eventually sweeps them away. Detachment is not refusing to build the mandala. It is building it with your whole heart, knowing the river awaits. It is loving the process more than the perishable product. This is where we meet karma. Often misunderstood as fate or punishment, karma in Buddhism is simply the law of cause and effect. It is the universe's inherent logic. Every thought, word, and action is a seed. You cannot plant an apple seed and demand a mango tree. You cannot plant seeds of resentment and expect a harvest of joy. But here is the vital, often missed nuance: karma is not deterministic. It is dynamic. The seed you planted yesterday is one cause. The water you choose today, the sunlight you allow in, the weeds you pull, these are new causes. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are a gardener in the eternal present. I remember a man who came to the temple, heavy with bitterness. His business partner had betrayed him, taken much of what he'd built. He was consumed by lawsuits, by fantasies of revenge, by the injustice. My karma is terrible, he said. I am being punished. We sat quietly for a while. Then I asked him, the betrayal, that was your partner's seed. It has grown into a thorny bush in your life. But tell me, what seeds are you planting now, in this soil? Are you watering the thorn bush with your rage? Are you fertilizing it with your constant ruminations? Is the harvest you are preparing one you will want to eat? He looked stunned. He had been so focused on the old, poisonous seed planted against him, he hadn't seen the forest of angry, toxic seeds he was planting for himself every single hour. His suffering was less about the original betrayal and more about the garden of vengeance he was diligently tending in its wake. Karma is not a judge. It is the soil. You have agency in every moment to plant something new, something clean. This leads us to the delicate art of non-interference. This is not apathy. It is the highest form of respect, for others, for life, and for the intricate workings of karma. We so often want to fix, to rescue, to manage the lives of those we love. We see them struggling and our hands itch to take over, to smooth their path. But in doing so, we can unknowingly rob them of their necessary growth, their own karma. We can become actors in a play they need to star in themselves. I learned this from a willow tree by a riverbank. During a storm, a young, slender willow bent almost parallel to the raging water. It looked desperate, as if it would surely snap. My instinct was to tie it, to prop it up, to intervene. An older monk gently stopped me. "Watch," he said. For hours, the willow danced with the storm, its flexibility its only strategy. When the storm passed, it slowly, gracefully, returned upright. It was scratched, a few small branches were lost, but it was whole, and it was stronger. Its roots had gripped the earth more deeply in the struggle. Had I tied it rigidly to a stake, it might not have bent, but the first real storm after my stake rotted away would have shattered it. It needed to find its own strength, its own rhythm with the wind. Non-interference is knowing when to be the silent, trusting witness instead of the anxious engineer. It is understanding that sometimes the most loving action is to hold space, not to take control. Now, let's speak of equanimity, upekkha. This is the balanced heart, the unshakable mind. It is not the bland neutrality of indifference. It is the profound stillness at the center of the cyclone. Imagine a lighthouse. The storm screams, waves crash against the rocks, wind howls. The lighthouse does not curse the storm. It does not try to calm the sea. It simply stands, grounded in its purpose, its light rotating steadily, a constant beam in the chaos. That light is equanimity. It feels the storm's fury, but is not defined by it. It remains, offering guidance precisely because it does not get tossed about. We confuse this with numbness. We think spiritual progress means feeling less. That is a dangerous misunderstanding. The goal is to feel everything more clearly, but to be host to the feelings, not a prisoner in their basement. Joy comes, you welcome it, savor its vibrant color, but you do not cling to its sleeve as it leaves. Sadness arrives, you offer it a chair, you listen to its message, you do not slam the door and pretend it isn't there. You feel anger's heat, but you don't let it become the architect of your next action. This balance is a practice. It's the breath in the gap between trigger and reaction. There was a woman, a musician, who came to a retreat. She was talented but plagued by crippling performance anxiety. Her fear of mistakes, of judgment, was so loud it silenced her joy. She saw her art as a fortress to be defended, not a song to be shared. We worked with the principle of equanimity. Before playing, she would sit, not to calm down, but to acknowledge the entire inner ecosystem. The fear is here, she would say. The desire to be perfect is here. The love for the music is also here. She learned to let them all coexist without letting one dictator take over. She began to see the performance not as a test of her worth, but as an offering. The notes might flub, the audience might be cold, but her inner lighthouse, her commitment to the offering itself, remained lit. The anxiety didn't vanish, but it lost its power to capsize her. It became just another weather pattern in the sky of her awareness, while she remained rooted in the earth of her purpose. This balanced heart is crucial when we explore desire. So many teachings vilify desire as the root of all suffering. And unchecked, grasping desire is. But to extinguish all desire is to extinguish life force itself. The Buddha's path is about discernment. It's about understanding the difference between tanha, thirst, craving, the desire that comes from a sense of lack, and chanda, wise aspiration, the desire that comes from a sense of fullness and seeks to contribute. Think of two fires. The first is a wildfire in a dry forest. It is fueled by desperation, by the hunger of lack. It consumes everything in its path, leaves only ash, and is never satisfied. This is egoic desire. I need this to be happy, to be complete, to be worthy. The second fire is the flame in a hearth. It is contained, focused. It provides warmth, light, a place for community to gather. It is fed intentionally, and its purpose is to serve. This is Dharma-centered desire. I am already whole, and from this wholeness, I feel moved to create, to connect, to heal. One fire burns you. The other fire sustains you. Your deepest calling, your dharma, is not a single job title or a destiny written in stars. It is the unique way your particular bundle of talents, wounds, and loves can align with the needs of the world. It is your song in the universal choir. It often feels like a desire, a pull, but it's a pull from within your own completeness. It's the artist who paints not for fame, but because silence demands color through them. It's the caregiver who tends not for gratitude, but because compassion is their native language. Dharmic action is action where the doer disappears, and only the doing remains. You are not writing a book, you are a conduit for a story that wants to be told. You are not building a business, you are organizing energy to solve a problem you feel called to address. The anxiety of, am I doing my purpose? Dissolves when you realize your purpose is not a distant finish line, but the quality of consciousness you bring to this very step. I knew a man, a brilliant coder, who worked for a large tech firm. He was successful, paid handsomely, but he felt a hollow ache. He was building systems to make people click more, buy more, stay online longer. He felt he was feeding the wildfire. His dharma was whispering, but it was drowned out by the noise of status and salary. During a walk in the woods, he noticed a park ranger patiently explaining the ecosystem to a group of children. The ranger's eyes were alight. A seed was planted. It took years, 1,000 small choices, but he slowly pivoted. He began using his skills pro bono for environmental nonprofits, building data models to track forest health. The pay was less, the prestige in his old circles vanished. But the hearth fire inside him grew stronger, warmer. He told me, I finally feel useful. Not successful, useful. The code I write now feels like a prayer for the trees. His desire didn't disappear, it was purified. It moved from craving validation to aspiring to contribute. That is the alchemy of Dharma. All of this, detachment, karma, equanimity, Dharma, requires us to face our emotions not as enemies, but as messengers. Emotional non-resistance is a science of liberation. An emotion is a wave of energy in the body. It has a beginning, a peak, and a natural end. Neuroscientists tell us the raw physiological wave lasts about 90 seconds. What extends it for hours, days, years? Our resistance. Our story. Our frantic effort to push it away or cling to it. I shouldn't feel this anger. I must hold on to this joy forever. That mental interference is what dams the river and creates the swamp of suffering. The practice is breathtakingly simple, though not easy. When grief washes over you, don't say, "I am devastated." Say, "Ah, grief is here." Feel its weight in the chest, its thickness in the throat. Breathe into those spaces. Don't follow the thought story, "My life is over, this is unfair." Just stay with the physical sensation. Watch the wave. It will crest, and it will fall. You are the sky, not the storm. This is not bypassing. This is meeting reality at its most fundamental level: sensation, energy, impermanence. I worked with a veteran once, a man haunted by panic attacks that felt like heart attacks. He was fighting them with all his might, which only amplified the terror. We practiced together. In the middle of an attack, shaking, he whispered, "Fear is here." He described the sensation: a vice on my chest, electric jitters in my arms, heat in my face. He focused on the vice, just the pressure, not the thought, "I'm dying." He breathed into the tightness. He didn't try to make it leave. He just said, "This is what fear feels like in my body right now." Within 2 minutes, the physical wave, unmetabolized by catastrophic thinking, began to subside. It didn't magically cure his anxiety, but it gave him an island of awareness in the sea of panic. He learned he could feel terror without being obliterated by it. The emotion lost its dictatorship. This fearless feeling brings us to the essence of compassion, karuna and metta. True compassion is impossible from a place of attachment. If you need someone to be happy, to be fixed, to be a certain way for you to be okay, that is not compassion, that is a covert contract. Compassion is love without ownership. It is the open-handed offering of presence. It says, "I am here with you in your pain. I will not abandon you, nor will I try to steal your journey from you." It is the mother sitting with her crying child, not shouting, "Stop crying," but holding her, letting the tears flow until they are done. She doesn't need the child to stop to feel peaceful herself. This is the foundation of loving-kindness meditation. You start with yourself. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself. Not because you are special, but because you are a being capable of suffering. Then you extend it to a benefactor, a neutral person, a difficult person, all beings. The practice isn't to manufacture a fake feeling. It's to recognize the fundamental wish for peace and safety in every heart, including your own, and to align your intention with that universal wish. It softens the boundaries between self and other. Let me share a story about my grandmother. She was not a Buddhist. She was a practical woman who grew vegetables. She had a neighbor who was perpetually miserable, complaining, often rude. My young self would feel irritated just hearing her voice. My grandmother, however, would listen. She'd nod. She'd sometimes take over a basket of tomatoes from her garden. She never gave advice unless asked. She never took the neighbor's mood personally. One day, I asked her, "Why are you so nice to her? She's never nice back." My grandmother wiped her hands on her apron and said, her heart is like a tangled knot. My listening, and these tomatoes, aren't going to untie it. But maybe they keep the knot from pulling tighter. Everyone deserves a little space where the knot isn't being yanked on. That was my first lesson in unattached compassion. She wasn't trying to fix the neighbor. She was simply providing a momentary respite, a little sunlight, without any demand for change or gratitude. Now, how do we live this in a world that is the antithesis of stillness? Modern detachment is a radical act. It's not about throwing away your phone. It's about changing your relationship with attention. Attention is your most sacred currency. Every ping, every scroll, every notification is a bid for it. The digital world operates on the economy of distraction. It profits from your fragmentation. To be mindful here is to be a rebel. Create rituals of reclamation. The first 5 minutes of your day, before you touch a screen, feel your breath. Feel the bed, the light. The last 5 minutes of your night, leave the phone in another room. Listen to the night sounds. When you do pick up the device, pause. Ask, why am I reaching for this? Habit. Boredom. Connection. That tiny gap of awareness is the foothold of freedom. You are not avoiding the modern world, you are entering it with a center, so you are not spun by its winds. I have a friend, a writer, who found herself in a loop of anxiety, constantly checking news and social media. She felt informed but drained, connected but lonely. She instituted what she called analog Sundays. No screens. Just paper books, pen and journal, walks, cooking, face-to-face conversation. The first Sunday was agonizing, the phantom buzz of the phone, the itch to check. By the fourth Sunday, she said she felt a spaciousness in her mind she hadn't known since childhood. Ideas for her writing, which had been stuck, began to flow. She wasn't generating ideas, she was finally quiet enough to hear them. She brought that quality of analog Sunday awareness back into her week in smaller doses, 90-minute focused work blocks with the phone in another room, checking email at set times, not as a reflex. She didn't do less, she began to do what actually mattered, with presence. The noise didn't stop, but she was no longer living inside it. This practice prepares us for life's inevitable loss. Loss is the ultimate teacher of detachment. It is the fire that burns away everything but the truth. When you lose a person, a dream, a health, a home, you stand naked before reality. The stories you told yourself about security, permanence, control, lie in ashes. And in that terrifying emptiness, if you do not rush to fill it, you may meet the only thing that cannot be lost, your aware presence. The you that is witnessing the grief. That awareness is untouched by the loss. It was there before the relationship, before the job, and it remains, clear and vast. Loss doesn't take that away. It reveals it. I think of a woman who lost her husband of 50 years. The grief was a physical landscape, a country of pain she had to traverse. People urged her to move on, to clean out his closet, to get busy. But she understood, instinctively, the wisdom of non-resistance. She allowed the waves. Sometimes she would sit in his chair and weep. Sometimes she would laugh at a memory. She didn't judge any of it. She told me, I am not trying to get over him. I am learning to live with the love that has no place to go. She was letting the love transform from attachment to a person into a quality of her own being, a tenderness, a patience, a deeper appreciation for fleeting moments. Her grief, fully allowed, was polishing her into a being of profound, gentle wisdom. She was not detached from her love, she was detaching her love from a single, fragile form and letting it become the very air she breathed. This is the secret of synchronicity. When you stop forcing, when you align with this inner clarity and trust, life begins to coordinate in mysterious, supportive ways. It's not magic. It's coherence. Your inner state is no longer broadcasting a frantic signal of lack and control. It is broadcasting a signal of peace and trust. The universe, which is an interconnected web of intelligence, responds in kind. You think of a friend, they call. You need an answer, you open a book to the exact page. A door closes, and a window opens that you never noticed before. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are life whispering, you are in the flow. Keep trusting. I experienced this when I was a young monk, tasked with giving my first public talk. I was terrified. I prepared furiously, writing pages and pages, trying to control every word. The night before, I couldn't sleep. My mind was a riot of fear. In the early morning, exhausted, I gave up. I let go. I thought, I have nothing to offer. I will just sit there and be silent. A strange calm descended. On my walk to the hall, I passed a garden. A single lotus flower, covered in mud from the night's rain, was struggling to open under the weight of the water on its petals. As I watched, a breeze shook the stem, and the droplets rolled off. The petal unfolded, clean and pink. That was my talk. I walked in, threw away my notes, and simply spoke about the lotus, the mud, the weight, and the breeze that comes when we stop struggling. The words came effortlessly. People were moved. I hadn't given a talk, I had shared a moment of grace that was given to me the moment I surrendered. That was synchronicity. The teaching appeared precisely when my need to be a teacher got out of the way. All of this circles back to surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is not passive. It is the active, courageous choice to align with reality instead of arguing with it. It is the archer who does everything right, stance, breath, aim, draw, and then releases the arrow. After the release, grabbing at the air is useless. The shot is gone. Your job was the form, not the flight. Surrender is that clean release. You do your part with full integrity, that is your karma. The outcome, the wind, the target's movement, the arrow's path, that belongs to life. To cling to the outcome is to live in perpetual anxiety. To release it is to live in perpetual peace. Imagine two climbers. The first is scaling a cliff, her fingers white on the rock, her mind screaming, don't fall, you must reach the top. Every move is agony, drenched in fear. The second climber is on the same cliff. She feels the rock, notes the holds, plans her route. But she also feels the sun on her back, hears the birdsong from the valley. She is committed to the climb, but she is not at war with the mountain. If she falls, her equipment will catch her. She trusts the process. She is engaged, but not desperate. Which climber is truly free? Which one is actually more likely to climb well? Surrender is that trust in the rope, in your training, in the mountain itself. It allows you to be fully in the climb, not in the nightmare of a future fall. So, we have traveled through these gardens: impermanence, karma, non-interference, equanimity, desire and dharma, emotional wisdom, compassion, modern mindfulness, loss, and synchronicity. They are not separate. They are facets of one brilliant truth: peace is not the absence of desire. It is the absence of attachment. You are not here to become a perfect, unfeeling statue. You are here to become a vibrant, conscious participant in the great dance of life. To love deeply, but with open hands. To work passionately, but with a light grip on the results. To feel everything intensely, but from the stable shore of your awareness. As we near the end of our time together, let this settle not in your mind as a concept, but in your body as a felt sense. Feel your breath. The inhale, a receiving. The exhale, a letting go. That is your practice, always available. In this rhythm, you will find that what is meant for you does not need to be chased. It is drawn to the resonance of your open, trusting heart. And what is not meant for you will fall away, no matter how tightly you hold on, making space for what truly belongs. This is the path of Monk's Temple. A path of coming home to the peace that was never lost, only overlooked. Thank you for walking it with me tonight. If these reflections have been a companion to you, consider subscribing to the channel. It is a simple way to ensure this space for quiet wisdom remains a part of your journey. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What resonates with you may be the very echo someone else needs to hear. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Trust the rhythm. Let go, and watch what arrives. Let's now deepen our exploration, moving from understanding into the very fabric of how we perceive the world. There is a concept in Buddhism called right view, or samadhi. It is the foundation of the entire Noble Eightfold Path. It doesn't mean having the correct opinion. It means seeing things as they actually are, free from the projections of our cravings and aversions. Detachment is impossible without right view. We are often not reacting to reality, but to our story about reality. We see not the person before us, but our expectation of them, our fear of them, our need from them. This is like looking at a mountain through a stained glass window. You see colors and shapes, but not the mountain itself. I recall a student who was plagued by conflict with his colleague. He is disrespectful, he would say. He undermines me. The pain was real. I asked him to do a simple practice. For 1 week, he was to observe his colleague without the labels, disrespectful, or undermining. Just observe actions and words as data. He entered the room at 9:05. He said, "The report data seems inconsistent." He presented his analysis before mine in the meeting. It was agonizing for him at first. His mind constantly wanted to paste the old labels onto the new observations. But slowly, something shifted. He began to see a man who was anxious, perhaps insecure, overly focused on detail, and socially awkward. The disrespect was a story my student had woven from his own insecurities. The undermining was often just poor timing. Right view didn't make the colleague perfect, but it removed the layer of personal narrative that was causing most of the suffering. My student could then respond to the actual behavior, setting clear boundaries about process, instead of reacting to the phantom of insult. The relationship transformed from a war of stories to a manageable, if not perfect, collaboration. Right view is the practice of wiping the window clean. This clarity is what allows for true forgiveness. Forgiveness in a Buddhist sense is not saying, "What you did was okay." It is saying, "I will no longer carry the poison of this event in my own heart." It is the ultimate act of self-care, a decision to stop letting someone else's past action dictate your present peace. It is a severing of the karmic thread you are holding on to. You are not responsible for the arrow they shot, but you are entirely responsible for leaving it lodged in your side, reopening the wound every day with the story of how it got there. I think of a woman who carried a burden of resentment toward her father for decades, for his absence, his criticism. It colored all her relationships with men, it made her defensive and hard. She believed forgiving him would be a betrayal of her childhood pain. One day, she learned more about his own childhood. A story of brutal poverty and emotional abandonment she had never known. This didn't excuse his behavior, but it provided context. She saw him not as a monolithic, bad father, but as a wounded boy who never learned how to be a parent. In that moment of right view, forgiveness became possible. It wasn't a feeling that washed over her, it was a choice she made. She said aloud, to an empty room, "I release you from the prison of my anger. I release myself from the prison of being your victim." She cried for an hour. The resentment didn't vanish overnight, but its power was broken. She had pulled the arrow out. The scar remained, but it was no longer an open, infected wound. Her detachment was not from the truth of her experience, but from the identity of the wounded daughter that had defined her for so long. This work with identity is crucial. We clutch to our identities: I am a success, I am a failure, I am a helper, I am a victim, as if they are our very selves. But they are just costumes, roles we play. Detachment involves seeing the actor behind the roles. When you lose a job, you are not an unemployed person. You are awareness itself, currently experiencing the loss of a role. When you succeed, you are not a winner. You are awareness itself, currently experiencing a pleasant event. This perspective is the anchor in life's storm. It prevents a single event from defining your entire worth. A powerful metaphor I often use is that of the sky and the weather. Your true nature, your awareness, is the vast, open, clear sky. Always present, always unchanging in its essential spaciousness. Thoughts, emotions, sensations, life events, these are the weather. Sunshine of joy, thunderstorms of anger, fog of confusion, gentle rain of sadness. We spend our lives identifying with the weather. I am a thunderstorm, we declare when angry. I am a gray, dreary day, we sigh when depressed. We forget the sky. The practice of mindfulness is simply to look up and remember the sky. The storm may be fierce, but the sky holds it. The sky is not damaged by the storm. The storm arises within the sky, plays itself out, and dissolves back into the sky. You are that. You are not the passing storm of circumstance. You are the silent, boundless space in which all of life's weather occurs. Let me share another original story. Years ago, I spent time in a mountain hermitage during a period of deep personal doubt. I felt like a fraud, my meditation felt stale, my peace felt manufactured. One night, a blizzard descended. The wind screamed, snow blinded the windows, and the small hut felt like it might be torn apart. I was genuinely afraid. In the pitch black, with the chaos raging outside, I did the only thing I could. I sat and followed my breath. I stopped fighting the fear and just let it be there, a tight, cold knot in my belly. I listened to the fury of the wind. And then, in a moment of sheer exhaustion from resisting, I gave up. Not in despair, but in surrender. A profound quiet opened up inside me, even as the storm roared outside. I was the hut, yes, being shaken. But I was also the stillness at the very center of the hut that was untouched. The storm lasted hours. When dawn came, the world was buried under 3 feet of snow, pristine and silent. The path was gone. The trees were bowed. And my inner landscape felt the same, a quiet, clear blankness. The storm of my self-doubt had been, in a way, blown out. I had to rebuild the path, but from a place of authenticity, not from the old, worn ruts of who I thought I was supposed to be. That blizzard was a fierce but necessary teacher of non-identification. From this place of sky-like awareness, we can engage with one of the most tender aspects of life, relationship. Most relational suffering comes from a simple, misguided equation: you plus me equals completion. We look to another to fill our emptiness, to validate our worth, to provide the stability we lack inside. This is the setup for inevitable suffering, for it places an impossible burden on another human being. Buddhist teaching on relationship might be summarized as 2 whole beings meeting in the space between them, not 2 halves clinging to form one fragile whole. Think of 2 strong, mature trees growing side by side in a forest. Their roots may intertwine underground, sharing nutrients, providing mutual stability. Their branches may touch, offering shade to one another. But each tree stands on its own. It draws its own water from the earth, its own light from the sun. If one tree were to fall, the other would mourn the loss of its companion, but it would not collapse. It would continue to grow, perhaps a bit more exposed, but still whole. This is healthy relationship. Detachment in love means being rooted in your own wholeness first. From that wholeness, you can offer companionship, not completion. You can love without the desperate need to be needed. I witnessed this in a couple who had been married for 60 years. Their love was palpable, but it wasn't clingy. They had separate interests, quiet times alone, and a deep respect for each other's inner world. The wife once told me, "I love him completely, but I don't own him. His joys are his own, his sorrows are his own. I am here to witness them, to share in them when he invites me, but not to manage them." This is the mature love that detachment fosters. It is a love that liberates, rather than confines. Contrast this with the energy of jealousy and control, which are the hallmark of attached love. Jealousy doesn't say, "I love you." It says, "I am afraid of losing the security I believe you provide." Control doesn't say, "I care about your well-being." It says, "I need you to behave in a way that makes me feel safe." These are not expressions of love, they are expressions of fear masquerading as love. To work with jealousy, you must turn away from the other person and look squarely at the emptiness within yourself that you are asking them to fill. What is the old wound? The sense of inadequacy? The fear of abandonment? That is your work. No other person can heal it for you. When you begin to tend to that wound yourself, through self-compassion and awareness, the compulsion to control your partner naturally diminishes. You start to see them as a fellow traveler, not as your life raft. This brings us to the practice of generosity, or dana. Generosity is the natural outflow of a non-clinging heart. When you understand impermanence, that you truly own nothing, that you are a temporary steward of energy, resources, and time, hoarding makes no sense. Generosity becomes the most logical thing in the world. It is the circulation of life force. You are not a dam, you are a river. A dam eventually stagnates and pressures itself to breaking. A river flows, nourishing everything it touches, and is in turn nourished by springs and tributaries. True generosity is detached from outcome. You give because giving is an expression of your abundance, not because you expect praise, reciprocity, or even a specific result. You donate to a cause not to be a savior, but because the impulse to alleviate suffering arises, and you act on it. You help a stranger without needing them to know your name. This kind of giving is light. It doesn't create karmic debt, it creates karmic flow. I learned this from a street vendor in a city I once lived near. He sold simple steamed buns. Every day, without fanfare, he would set aside a few buns. As the day wore on, he would give them to the homeless people who wandered the market, to the street children, to anyone who looked hungry and had no coins. He didn't make a show of it. He would just nod, hand over the bun wrapped in paper, and go back to his work. There was no transaction, not even of gratitude. It was as natural as breathing to him. I asked him about it once. He smiled a gap-toothed smile and said, "The flower comes from the earth. The fire comes from the sun. My hands shape it. I am just a middleman. How can a middleman charge the hungry?" He saw himself not as an owner of buns, but as a channel for nourishment. His detachment from the idea of his product allowed for a radical, effortless generosity. That man was a living lesson in dana. Now, let's apply this lens of flow and non-ownership to ambition and work. Our culture often preaches relentless striving, goal-setting, and a never-quit mentality. There is value in effort, yes. But effort born of grasping is exhausting and often counterproductive. It's like trying to force a flower to bloom by pulling on its petals. Right livelihood, another part of the Eightfold Path, guides us here. It means earning a living in a way that does not cause harm, that is honest, and that aligns with our deeper values. But even within right livelihood, we can be attached to the fruits. The Bhagavad Gita, while not a Buddhist text, offers a parallel wisdom that illuminates this. You have a right to your actions, but never to the fruits of your actions. This is the essence of detached effort. Pour your skill, your care, your creativity into your work. Do it excellently, with full presence. But then, release the outcome. Did the client say yes? Did the project succeed? Did you get the promotion? These results are influenced by a million factors beyond your control: market conditions, other people's moods, sheer luck. Your peace cannot be hostage to them. I knew an architect, a brilliant designer, who would become physically ill before client presentations. His sense of self was so tied to his designs being accepted. When a design was rejected, he would fall into a depression, convinced of his own worthlessness. He was identified with the successful architect role. We worked on reframing his work as his offering. His job was to listen deeply to the client's needs, the land's spirit, and the principles of good design, and then to make his purest, most sincere offering on paper. The client's decision to accept or reject that offering was part of their karma, their taste, their budget, a separate stream of causes and conditions. He learned to bow and say, "This is my offering," and to mean it. The anxiety didn't disappear, but it moved from the center to the periphery. He became known not just for his designs, but for his gracious, unflappable presence. Ironically, his work began to attract more clients because people wanted to work with someone who wasn't desperate for their approval. He found success by letting go of his need for it. This principle is vital in creativity and art. The muse does not visit the clenched fist. It visits the open hand. Creativity is an act of channeling, not manufacturing. When you sit down to write, to paint, to compose, with the demand, "I must create a masterpiece," you block the flow. The ego is in charge, and it is a terrible editor, full of fear and judgment. But when you sit down with a spirit of curiosity, of, "Let's see what wants to emerge," you create a space for inspiration. The first draft, the first sketch, can be clumsy. That's fine. Clumsiness is a cause. It is part of the process. Detachment in creativity means loving the process more than the product. It means being willing to scrap a week's work if it's not true, not because it's bad, but because your loyalty is to the truth of the expression, not to the time invested. The artist who is detached can take criticism without crumbling and accept praise without inflating, because their worth is not on the canvas, it is in the sincere act of showing up to the blank page. Consider the life of a gardener. She doesn't yell at the seeds to sprout. She doesn't berate the tomatoes for ripening slowly. She prepares the soil. She plants at the right time. She waters, she weeds, she provides support. She does her part with diligence and love. Then, she waits. She trusts the intelligence in the seed, the sun, the rain. Some plants thrive, some get eaten by bugs, some just don't take. She doesn't take it personally. She learns, adjusts, and plants again next season. Her joy is in the gardening itself. The feel of the soil, the smell of the leaves, the daily ritual of care. The harvest is a gift, not an entitlement. Our lives are this garden. Our actions are the planting and tending. The outcomes are the harvest, subject to seasons and conditions we do not command. Find the joy in the tending. We must also talk about rest and stillness. In a world that worships productivity, rest is seen as laziness. But in the economy of wisdom, rest is not the opposite of work. It is the necessary reset that makes wise work possible. Stillness is not emptiness, it is the space where insight coalesces. The Buddha sat in stillness for years before his awakening. He wasn't doing nothing. He was engaging in the most profound activity of all, deep listening to the nature of existence. Detachment includes detachment from the identity of the doer. You are not just what you produce. Your worth is inherent, not earned by constant activity. Building deliberate periods of silence, of true leisure, not distracted scrolling, into your life is an act of rebellion and sanity. It is in these quiet pools that the sediment of your mind settles, and you can see clearly again. I advise people to practice doing nothing for 10 minutes a day. Not meditation with a goal, but simply sitting, or lying down, and allowing. No goal of peace, no seeking insight. Just being. It's astonishingly difficult at first. The mind throws a tantrum of boredom and guilt. But with persistence, it becomes a sanctuary. In that space, the compulsive need to be someone or get somewhere relaxes. You remember you are a human being, not a human doing. From that place of being, your doing becomes more intentional, less frantic. All of this cultivation prepares us for the final, and perhaps most profound teacher, illness and the body's impermanence. Our bodies are the most intimate grounds for practicing detachment. We identify with them so completely. I am my young body, my healthy body, my pained body. But the body is changing every second. Cells die and are reborn. Energy fluctuates. Health comes and goes. To attach our identity to a healthy, pain-free, youthful body is to guarantee suffering, for that body will inevitably age, sicken, and die. This doesn't mean we neglect the body. We care for it with great compassion, as we would care for a beloved temple. But we care for it without the illusion of control. You can eat perfectly, exercise diligently, and still get sick. Genetics, environment, viruses, countless causes intersect. Detachment here means doing your best to care for the conditions, and then meeting whatever arises with awareness, not with a war cry of, "This shouldn't be happening." I sat with a man dying of a terminal illness. He was a former athlete, proud of his strength. His body's betrayal filled him with rage and despair. He felt he was disappearing. We talked about the sky and the weather. Your body, I said, is the most intense, personal weather you will ever experience. But are you the failing organs, the pain? Or are you the one who is aware of the failing organs, aware of the pain? It took time. But in his final weeks, he reported moments of profound peace. The pain is still there, he'd whisper. But I'm here, too, watching it. It's like I'm bigger than it. He had found the sky amidst the most violent storm. He didn't beat his illness, but he found a freedom within it. His detachment was from identifying as a dying body, and his attachment was to the vast awareness that witnessed the entire process. He passed with a serenity that astonished his family. He had let go of the raft of his body and discovered he could still float. This is the ultimate letting go. And it illuminates the biggest fear, death. If we have practiced letting go of smaller things, plans, identities, possessions, relationships, the final letting go becomes a continuation, not a terrifying rupture. Death, from the perspective of awareness, is not an end, but a transformation. The form dissolves, the energy returns to the source. The wave returns to the ocean. You are not the wave. You are the water itself. The contemplation of death is not morbid in Buddhism, it is invigorating. It is the great clarifier. Remembering that your time here is limited, that every conversation could be your last, infuses life with vivid intensity. It pushes you to forgive now, to love now, to speak your truth now, to drop petty grievances now. The detachment from the fantasy of endless tomorrows is what allows you to fully live in today. So, we have woven through perception, forgiveness, identity, relationship, jealousy, generosity, work, creativity, rest, the body, and death. Each is a thread in the tapestry of a life lived with conscious detachment. This is not a path of becoming special, enlightened, or above it all. It is a path of becoming ordinary in the most sacred sense, fully present, fully human, fully engaged, yet fundamentally free. As our journey tonight draws to a close, let me leave you with one last, simple image. It is an image you can carry in your heart. Imagine you are standing in a warm, gentle river. The water flows around your ankles, constant, moving toward the sea. In your hands, you hold a handful of autumn leaves, beautiful, vibrant reds and golds, but dry and brittle. They represent your attachments, your worries about the future, your regrets about the past, your need to control, your clinging to how things should be. Feel the weight of them in your hands. Now, slowly, gently, open your fingers. Let the leaves fall onto the surface of the water. Watch them. They don't sink immediately. They float. They swirl in the current, catching the light. They begin to drift away from you, carried by the river's own intelligence. You do not chase them. You simply stand, feeling the water flow, watching the leaves journey onward until they round a bend and are gone from sight. Notice what is left. Your hands are empty. Open. The water still flows around you. The sun is still warm. The sound of the river is still here. The emptiness in your hands is not a lack. It is a readiness. It is space. It is freedom. This is your practice, in any moment. When you find yourself clutching at a thought, a fear, an outcome, a memory, remember the river. Remember the leaves. You can always open your hands. You can always trust the flow. The peace you seek was never in the leaves. It is in the river. It is in the opening. It is in the trust that what is truly yours, this breath, this awareness, this capacity to love, can never be taken by the current. It is the current itself. Thank you for spending this time in reflection at Monk's Temple. If this space has been a sanctuary for you, I invite you to subscribe. By doing so, you gently remind yourself to return to this quality of listening. Share in the comments what leaf you are ready to let fall onto the water. Your sharing creates a community of letting go. Until we meet again, may you walk gently, trust deeply, and know that in every release, you are coming home. Good night.